Hi guys, so with the pre-patch being released and with Battle for Azeroth now being just a few weeks away, it's time to try and decide what class I want to play and main in the new expansion. I have played a number of classes on the alpha and the beta versions of the game, as well as putting in a number of hours on all classes at max levels on the live servers, by running through various dungeons and raids to try and get a feel for all of the classes and how they play. By doing this, I discovered classes that I had never really played in depth being really enjoyable, and therefore forcing their way into my consideration. I also found classes that were not as enjoyable or fun to play as I'd first thought, and therefore ruling them out of my consideration. Now, when deciding what class I wanted to play, I decided it came down to 3 key points. Point 1. How fun is the class to play? Now, the fun factor is important to me when picking a class, since it is something I'm going to be potentially playing for around 2 years, which seems to be the average duration of the expansion these days. So I at least want to enjoy the class that I am playing, as this will hopefully prevent boredom from setting in over a long period of time. Point 2. How effective is the class in general, and how viable are all of its specs in the type of content I want to partake in? So this for me would be raiding and Mythic Plus dungeons. For you, it could simply be world questing, looking for raid or PvP. We all have our preferences on what we enjoy doing the most. And point 3 is based on a purely selfish reason, and that is how easy or difficult will it be for me to get into endgame pug groups for raiding and Mythic Plus dungeons. If this is what I want to do, we're not doing that content with my guild. So basically it's a quality of life choice, i.e. I don't want to spend ages waiting in a queue to gain access to this content, so this for me also has to be taken into account. Now, because of the key points I just mentioned, it instantly ruled out all classes that did not have a tank or healer spec, as having a tank or a healer spec makes you more viable to your guild. If you can play another role, it allows more flexibility. For example, if you hit a point in a raid where you are playing as a DPS, but you need an extra healer for a certain fight, then being able to switch to a healer on the fly helps both you and your guild progress. It also makes it so much easier in getting into endgame pug groups in both dungeons and raids, as well as dramatically reducing queue times. Pure DPS classes can be hampered by this at times, whereas tanks and healers are not. That does not mean I don't think any of the pure DPS classes are not good. Far from it, in fact. I think the majority of them are in a pretty good place right now. I really enjoyed playing the mage, and the warlock right now is amazing and one of the most fun DPS specs to play. But due to what I am personally looking for, this means the hunter, rogue, mage and warlock have to go. Now, the next to go for me were the druid, priest, shaman, death knight and the demon hunter. I'm not going to lie, the druid and the priest for me were pretty easy to get rid of, as they have always been my least favourite classes to play. I did briefly main both of these two classes at some point over the years and have tried to get back into playing them since, but these two classes are just not for me. I simply don't enjoy playing them. I do think, however, that the priest will be a good healer in Battle for Azeroth, with holy being actually quite decent and discipline being very good, especially for those that can play it well. The shadow priest, from what people have been saying, is a bit of a mess right now and is due to be looked at by Blizzard in patch 8.1, so it could turn out to be a really good DPS spec. As for the druid, I think it will be a good healer, as it always seems to perform well. And I have zero doubts that the Guardian Druid will once again be one of the go-to tanks in Battle for Azeroth, especially for endgame content. DPS wise, I'm pretty sure both Feral and Balanced will be competitive alongside all other DPS classes. As for the Shaman and the Death Knight, there was nothing particularly wrong with them, I just enjoyed playing other classes more. However, I have heard that the Elemental Shaman, and maybe the Shaman in general, is lacking in certain areas as of right now, and is another class that is going to be looked at in patch 8.1, so I guess that is something other people may want to take into account. I found the DK a pretty fun class to play, and I played a lot of the DK in Legion. Unholy and especially Blood were a lot of fun for me. I can once again see the DK being a super reliable tank, especially in Mythic Plus content, what with their crowd control and self-healing abilities, and Unholy is still a fun spec to play. As for the Demon Hunter, this for me is just a super fun class all round. I don't think there is a lot wrong with this class, as both specs are a lot of fun and are very simple to play. The mobility is probably the best in the game. As a tank, I think the Vengeance Demon Hunter will be amazing in Mythic Plus dungeons, as the crowd control you have with your sigils will make controlling dangerous mobs so much easier, and what with the mobility and self-healing capabilities, it could well prove to be one of the best tanks for Mythic Plus dungeons. However, the one downside in my opinion is when it comes to raiding, as I think their mitigation in the form of Demon Spikes is one of the weakest due to the much longer cooldown on the mitigation compared to other tanks. This means you could be without mitigation and open to taking a large amount of damage at certain points in a fight, and that to me would be a concern. This is not the only reason, but one of a few that has put me off from selecting it as a main. So that leaves only 3 classes remaining, the Monk, Warrior and the Paladin. And I have to say picking between these 3 was really difficult, as I kind of love them all. I really did want my main to be the Warrior, as both the Arms and Fury spec are so much fun to play. But it looks like once again I may be playing a main tank, and unfortunately I think the Prot Warrior lacks in a few areas, and in my opinion is one of the least fun tanks to play in the new expansion. Which is really annoying to me, as both the DPS specs are great fun. The Protection Warrior has a few things wrong with it in my opinion, but this isn't the video to go into all of that. But the problems it does have does affect my enjoyment of that spec, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I want to enjoy the class that I play, and I just don't enjoy playing the Protection Warrior, so it had to go. The next one to go was the Paladin. Now the Paladin has been my main since Warlords, and I still enjoy playing it even now. I just thought it was time for a change. I don't think there is a lot wrong with the Paladin right now, bar maybe the Holy Paladin, as I think it lacks good raid-wide healing, but I very rarely play healer, so don't quote me on that. As for the DPS and tank specs, I think they are in a pretty good place right now. I played mainly as a tank in Legion, and in Battle for Azeroth the playstyle is pretty much exactly the same. I think tanking wise they will once again be a good Mythic Plus tank, and raiding wise they will once again be a middle of the road tank, and by that I mean a jack of all trades, master of none. Perfectly viable in all content, but slightly lacking in certain areas. I will still level my Paladin as a main alt, and as a backup main, just in case I don't enjoy my first pick when playing endgame content. So yes, that means my first choice, and therefore my main going into Battle for Azeroth, is going to be the Monk. The reason I have chosen the Monk is because it completely hits and covers all 3 of my key points. I actually enjoy playing all 3 of the specs, so it covers the is it fun to play point. Even though I am not the biggest fan of healing in WoW, I don't even mind healing on the Mistweaving Monk. It's not something I'd want to do on a regular basis, but if I had to do it from time to time, I'd still be having fun. And I genuinely think it could be up there as one of the best healers in Battle for Azeroth, as they just seem so well rounded. Again, I'm not a healing expert, so don't quote me on that. DPS wise, the Windwalker Monk is still for me a lot of fun to play. What with the great mobility and fast paced action, it just always feels like you're doing something. They will be, in my opinion, very competitive with other DPS classes. Tanking wise, the Brewmaster is one of the most fun tanks to play. Have you noticed how many times I've mentioned the word fun whilst talking about this class and all 3 of its specs? That's pretty rare in my opinion. I think tanking wise the Brewmaster is actually a very strong tank. It has super fast mobility and it has a pretty much 100% uptime on its mitigation, in the form of Iron Skin Brew. And that combined with the Monk's passive ability of Stagger, again combined with the use of Purifying Brew, means the amount of damage you can deal with is really impressive. This means your damage intake should always be relatively smooth and consistent. The one downside that I see is that they are very healer reliant, as they are lacking in the self-heal department, but as an overall tank they seem up there as one of the best. Now I can only hope that I don't regret making this choice once I hit max level in Battle for Azeroth. As this is the first time I will have mained a monk, and it's probably the class I am least familiar with, so I have a lot to learn. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts. Have you all decided on what you're going to main when the new expansion comes out? Let me know in the comments below. So as always, thanks for watching, please do comment, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.